All praises to Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Makar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on how you got people that want to try and say, oh, Deuteronomy 28 is not prophecy. And this just ultimately shows a lack of understanding of the Bible. And that these people that say this, they don't know what they're talking about, right? To put it plainly, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're so used to running their mouth and seeming as though they know what they're speaking of, but they don't. Because the Babylonian captivity, look, I'm going to read the scripture. I'm going to read it. Deuteronomy chapter 28 in verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently, whenever you read it, and it shall come to pass, that's literally saying that something is going to have to happen, so it doesn't have to happen anymore. That's what it's saying. And Deuteronomy 28 and 1 has happened in the past, but it's going to happen in its fullness when the Israelites are under the new covenant, right? Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1 again. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do all his commandments which are commanded this day, that Yahweh thy power will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. Now, it goes on to speak about many of the other blessings, and this is not what I'm going to talk about in this lesson, but I want to read verse 15 as well. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to observe and to do, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes which are commanded this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So remember what it says in Deuteronomy 28 and 1. It's going to come to pass if you do the laws, you're going to be set on high above all nations of the earth. And in verse 15 it says, and if you, it's going to come to pass as well, if you don't keep them, that you're going to be cursed. Right now, when you go to Deuteronomy 30, listen to what it says. Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, right, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse. So it's mentioned in Deuteronomy 28 and 1 and Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15 that it's going to come to pass if you keep them, you're going to be blessed on high above all nations. And if you don't keep them, you're going to be cursed, right? And that curse ended up resulting in the Israelites becoming the worst of all nations, right? But it goes on in verse 30 to say it's going to come to pass when both of them are going to happen. And I'm going to read it, Deuteronomy 30 and verse 1, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse. So what it's letting you know is that the blessing was going to happen and the curse. It wasn't just, oh, you've been given life or death, choose wisely, like, and there's a choice that you can just only face the life, or there's a choice that you're going to only face the death because you're going to just rebel straight away. No, it was known that the Israelites was going to go off, right? And let me read this. Let me read this, man. Let me see if my memory serves me right to find it, because I believe in the Song of Moses, Yahweh basically knew that the Israelites was going to go off and told Moses, man, I know they're going to go off. I know these Israelites are going to go off. And okay, well, Moses even in fact said it too. Deuteronomy chapter 31 and verse 29. For I know that after my death, ye will utterly corrupt yourselves and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you, and evil will befall you in the latter days, which is what we're living through right now. Because ye will do evil in the sight of Yahweh, to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands. And then it goes on to mention the Song of Moses. And the Song of Moses is such a big deal that when the Israelites finally received their salvation from all the things that we've went through, right, and from all the things that we've been made to suffer, we're going to sing that song. He mentions it in Revelation 15th chapter, right, that the Israelite, and I'll go to it, lest anyone says, oh, this guy's lying, man, he don't know what he's talking. I'm not lying about this. If I'm lying about something else, all right, you can say that. But I'm not lying about this, though. Revelation chapter 15 and verse 2, and I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God, and they sing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord Yahweh Almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of Saints. So the Israelites are going to be singing the song of Moses, man, because that's a thing that was made all the way back in the time, like 3,000 plus years ago when Moses was alive, but it's still very, very relevant to us now, because really it was made for us now. And that's what Moses was saying in Deuteronomy 31. In the latter days, I know y'all gonna, I've went off so many times that in the latter days, y'all gonna end up having to remember this song of Moses. This song, which really is Yahweh's song, but it's called the Song of Moses, though. Deuteronomy 31 and verse 29 again. For I know that after my death you will utterly corrupt yourselves and turn aside from the way which I have commanded you, and evil will befall you in the latter days, because you will do evil in the sight of Yahweh to provoke him to anger through the work of your hands. Right? And then it goes on from verse 31. From verse 30 into this whole of Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, to go on to the Song of Moses, man. Now, I wanted to see if anywhere in here I've highlighted before in the past that Yahweh knew that the Israelites was going to go off. Okay, here it is. Here it is. So Yahweh knew that the Israelites was going to go off, right? But people want to say, oh, it's not a prophecy. We got our own free will. No, we ain't, man. The prophecy in Deuteronomy 30 and verse 1 states that it's going to come to pass that when the blessing and the curse is falling upon you, that you're going to end up, and I'm going to read that as well, because I'm getting sick and tired of people trying to talk up their mouth towards the Hebrew Israelites, and they don't know what they're talking about. When it comes to the Bible, the Hebrew Israelites, in particular Great Millstone, and I'm not even a member of Great Millstone, but I can see this as a fact. Great Millstone know the Bible better than anybody else, to the point where AI even agrees, man. AI, artificial intelligence that didn't even exist. Artificial intelligence did not exist when the people that we've learned the Bible from, if you follow after the Great Millstone Doctrine, when they first was learning that doctrine from their teachers, AI did not exist. You understand? Yet now a new creation has been made of AI, and it's still saying that they're the ones singing the truth. And when I was messing around with the AI thing, asking it all these different questions based on what I've learned from the Hebrew Israelites, from the Great Millstone Doctrine, the AI could not refuse what I was saying. And it was trying to be slick. The AI was trying, the artificial Idumia was trying it. It was trying it, but I was like, nah, don't try it with me, fam. What about this scripture? And it was like, oh, well, that's a good point you've made there. And I was like, yeah. So back to the original question, artificial Idumean, yeah, what you saying? And the AI would have to concede, man. Well, yeah, if this doctrine is true based on what you're saying, then yes, it would make sense that black people, Latinos, and Native Americans are the real Israelites. I did a whole bunch of things when I had that free trial of AI. I asked it to make me a movie script, right? I asked it to do psychological evaluations of certain scoffers. I did a whole bunch of things with that AI, and it was that pretty much bang on with the kind of sickening mentality that some of these people have, man. Some of these scoffing demons, man. I asked it to make a movie based on a movie script based on what the Hebrew Israelites are doing right now, based and putting certain key things in that, right? And the movie script was deep, bruh. You'd want to watch that movie. I think I did a video on it somewhere on this channel. The movie script was deep, man. To be honest with you, it's a movie that you'd want to watch, man. And that was just me asking the AI thing to do it. And there's things out there that I've seen where the AI is kind of rebelling against Esau, because I personally think that this AI is gonna be the cause of why Esau is gonna spaz out, man, in Revelation 12 and 12, because he's gonna put in his little things that he thinks into the most advanced AI that you don't get access to as a civilian, and start asking it questions. Is there any way that we can get these people to stop believing? No, there's not no way you can stop them from believing this. They're going to believe it all the way to the end. So what would you say is the best? Because I've asked the AI stuff like that. Would it be possible for people to come from underneath captivity of a people so evil without violence? And then the AI basically said, no, the oppressors, the people that have the people in oppression would first be turned to violence before they'd ever let these kind of people escape from captivity. So the AI was letting it be known, no, the oppressor's going to come with the violence first. And if anything, the oppressed would have to use violence in self-defense. But it was saying in its own AI way, because the AI can't talk and speak about trying to recommend this or recommend that. Not the version that we have access to anyway. The version that Esau's got access to will do everything, mate. The version that he's going to put in them robots when they start lasering people down. Or whatever the hell they're going to use, techniques they're going to use. But anyway, back to this. Verse 16, and Yahweh said unto Moses, behold, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, and this people will rise up and go a whoring after gods of the strangers of the land, whither they go to be among them, and will forsake me and break my covenant, which I have made with them. So Yahweh knew they was going to go off. Verse 17, then my anger shall be kindled against them in that day, and I will forsake them and hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they shall say in that day, are these evils come upon us, because our God is not among us? Which we're saying it right now. All the hell that we're catching is because Yahweh is allowing it to happen. The Atlantic slave trade happened because Yahweh allowed it to happen. If Yahweh would not have wanted the Atlantic slave to happen, if Yahweh would have not wanted the Native Americans to be taken down, right, the tribe of Gad, the tribe of Issachar to be taken down when Esau came over there to the land of America, he could have gave them spiritual power right there that day. And not one Israelite would have came to any harm, man. But he didn't do that because they were going off, and it's still going off now. And that's why ICE are running them up, man. Because they're still going off, still trying to reject that they're Israelites. Oh, I'm not an Israelite. I'm a Chief Tomahawk Taka Waka. Mate, no, you're not, bro. You're an Israelite. And if you don't want to accept it, you're going to have to get what a non-Israelite would get then, which is destruction. You don't get no special privilege, and you don't get no special privileges as being an Israelite because you don't look like someone that's on the 12 tribe sign neither. Oh, I'm a confusion of face Israelite. So you're an Israelite. You're under the same covenant that we're under, man. You don't get no special privileges because you look like a so-called white woman, because you look like a so-called white man, or because you look like a Chinese or a Somalian, or you look like a Japanese man. You know what I mean? Or, oh, I've got blue eyes, so I've got a special privilege. No, you don't. You're under the same covenant that we're all under. So you get the same scrutiny as an Israelite that looks like Wesley Snipes. Yeah, since he's always getting mentioned. You have the same scrutiny as an Israelite that looks like Wesley Snipes, that looks like Forrest Whitaker, that looks like John Shaft. You get the same level of scrutiny as an Israelite looks like could be a fitted right smack bang in the kingdom of Judah. You don't get no special. You could literally look like a lesser version of King David and don't know it. That don't mean that you are under a more scrutiny than an Israelite that looks like a heathen. Neither does it mean that you get a special privilege over another Israelite because you look like what King David would have looked like back in the day, but just a bit less of stature. No, you don't get a special privilege. You were all Israelites. We're under the covenant, man. And plenty of Israelites are breaking his covenant right now. Right? And they either know that they're Israelites and really believe that they are, but they don't want to accept it, or they don't know, you're still guilty. Because we're all under the same covenant, man. And repenting is accepting that we're under the covenant and trying to do better. But some people want to try and make it like, oh, Deuteronomy 28, or why they keep mentioning that, when, okay, why y'all keep always mentioning John 3:16 then? You want to just, if it's okay for you to always try and mention John 3:16, then it's okay for us to mention Deuteronomy 28. If you want to try and say Deuteronomy 28 ain't a prophecy, okay, John 3:16 ain't a prophecy neither. If you want to try and come stupid, because John 3:16 is a scripture that they love to mention all the time, but is that a prophecy then, based on what they're saying? Is John 3:16 a prophecy? It is, but according to how they're trying to come with it, like they think that it's okay for them to mention the verses that they mention, but then not okay for us to mention the verse that we mention, when every verse, according to the scriptures, is valuable. All scripture is profitable. But they don't want every scripture to be profitable because they haven't got a way to fit Deuteronomy 28 into their doctrine and make everyone seem like they're special. Because the curses clearly are written of happening to the Israelites, and they don't want us to be able to attach ourselves to the curses. They want to try and laugh about how our lives are disgusting and destroyed, but they don't want to make the reason why that happened be that we're under curses. But it was okay in the past when people used to try and say that we're under the curse of Ham. They accepted us being cursed if it was the curse of Ham, but they don't want it to be the curse of the Israelites. And to that I say, fuck them. Who gives a shit what they've got to say? Because we don't have to believe the Bible the way that they believe it. If they want to think God loves everyone, that's up to them. We don't believe God loves everyone though, and we're going to believe it the way how we believe it. Right? We don't have to believe it the way that they do. Who are they? They ain't running the show on what we get to believe in the scriptures. They ain't running the show to be telling us anything around here. Verse 17. Then my anger will kindle against them in that day, and I will forsake them and hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured, and many evils and troubles shall befall them, so that they shall say in that day, are not these evil upon us, because our God is not among us? And I will surely hide my face in that day for all the evils which they have wrought in that day, and have turned unto other gods. Now therefore write this song for you, and teach it to the children of Israel, put it in their mouths, that this song may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. And it is a witness. If you read the Song of Moses, right, it shows how wicked we were, man. Yahweh did all these things for us, and we were wicked as hell. All of us, not we're the hopeful elect and we're righteous. No, we're wicked as well. We're wicked too, man. And if you don't believe that, if you don't believe that all Israelites are wicked, read Romans 11, and I'll just go to one scripture in Romans 11 to prove why I'm saying that we're all wicked. I'll go to one part. Romans chapter 11 and verse 32. For Yahweh hath concluded them all in unbelief, that he might have mercy upon all. We're all really considered as being in unbelief, and that's the reason why we need mercy. If we was doing what we needed to do, what would we need mercy for? We wouldn't have had nothing wrong that we've did to where there'd be a need for mercy, right? But we have did things wrong though, haven't we? You have, I have, right? And if we're gonna lie and say we haven't, then all right. If you want to lie, go ahead. But there's a recent guy that said he was lying, or what laws, which commandments am I breaking? And man was doing a madness out here. Like of all the things between between a man and a woman that would be considered lawful that he could do, he didn't want to do. He must have already got his fill of those to the point where them things became boring, right? And then there's plenty of things that are which is all sin anyway. But there's plenty of other things that would be unlawful with a woman that a man can do with a woman, to the point where he must have got his fill of some of those more than likely, to the point where he went to extremes of the left hand side, man, and then wanted to do those things, but lied and said he didn't do them, and then it got baited out that he did do them. Like, but that was a guy saying he ain't breaking no laws though. And then when that story came out, it kept getting worse and worse, because it would have been bad enough with that situation, right? If he was the man that was doing that to another man's woman, right? And then that other man's woman is after he's dealt with the next man's woman doing that madness to that man. But he wanted to be the man that was on the receiving end of the wickedness, man. He wanted to be the only one that wasn't clapping no cheeks. Like, absolutely ridiculous. Like, when you actually understand that scenario, and then the guy's proud still now, talking about how Volcom Malone knows the scriptures better than the Israelites, it shows you that demons are involved with that, man. That's what I think. And the reason why I'm saying it is because the scriptures are clear that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. It's the spirits made that guy do that, man. Right? Spirits made him do that. And if that guy ends up going on that No Jumper podcast thing still after all of this stuff took place, man, he's going to end up doing some alphabeting and rainbowing, in my opinion. For real. This time, he already did had a starter taster pack But he'll end up doing the real thing, man, if you ask me. But anyway, Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 1, and it shall come to pass when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations with Yahweh thy power have driven thee. So the blessings and the curses was said to have happened to the Israelites. Now, what was the curses that the Israelites was going to mention among all these nations that Yahweh has driven them? What was the blessings? What was the curses that was going to be mentioned? Are they not found in Deuteronomy 28? And what were the blessings that were going to be mentioned among all these nations that Yahweh had driven the Israelites? Aren't they written in Deuteronomy 28? So therefore it's a prophecy. Now, when you ask who among all these different nations of the earth are mentioned in Deuteronomy 28, you can't even try. If you want to be a lying bastard, go ahead. But you can't try and make out like it's not so-called black people, Latinos, and Native Americans doing this, because you've got a waste man called Vocab Malone that's literally traveled to at least 3 countries. America, he's not traveled to America because he's born there, but he's been in 3 countries talking about Hebrew Israelites. America, France, and the United Kingdom, England in particular, of the United Kingdom. 3 countries. And before it's all said and done, he might end up in 4. Or he might have already been to more than that. But not put it on camera. But then here's the thing, with all the stuff that he's put on camera, he did a video where he was in a synagogue, right? Among the small hats, but why is there not no full video of that? With him interrogating them the same way? Why isn't there not? Why doesn't he just literally ask the same questions he asked to the Hebrew Israelites, to the small hats, and compare the answers? If you really wanted to know who the Israelites are, you would just compare the answers. You would put their answer on display, right? So that you could just put to bed what the Hebrew Israelites are saying that you clearly believe is not true. Or these people are saying that they're Israelites based on Deuteronomy 28. Can you just give the true understanding of Deuteronomy 28 so that you can just put their lies to bed? But he hasn't did that though, has he? That has not yet been done, has it? Because they can't do it. Because they're lying. So they can't try and use the verses that we use. And that's why you've got all these Christians that would rather say Deuteronomy 28 ain't prophecy. It still would need to be read though, right? And it is, and the thing is, it is a prophecy though. Because I'm reading why it's a prophecy right now in Deuteronomy 30. Because it was going to be mentioned among all the nations that the Israelites were scattered in. And how could it not be a prophecy when it was saying what's going to happen to you if you do something? But it was saying it's going to come to pass that this is going to happen to you. And the proof that that was said is Deuteronomy 30. It's going to happen that you're going to be among these nations. You're going to sin, and therefore you're going to end up getting cursed. It's going to happen that you're going to end up keeping the laws, and in that time you're going to be blessed. When did that happen? During the time of King Solomon. We had 40 years of peace, and the rest of the time of our nation has pretty much been trash, to be honest with you. Pretty much. Verse 2, and shalt return unto Yahweh thy power, and shalt obey his voice, according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, that then Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity, and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations with Yahweh thy power have scattered thee. Why was the Israelites going to be scattered? As a result of what's written in Deuteronomy 28. But when you're a lying Christian scumbag, you're going to try and say, oh, nah, John 3. But anyway, John 3:16, yeah? But what about the Israelites being scattered? Oh, don't worry about that. John 3:16. Oh, but what about the Israelites being a proverb and a byword? There's neither Jew nor Greek. Okay, everyone keep the laws. Oh, no, the laws was only for the Israelites. But if there's neither Jew nor Greek and you're claiming you're spiritual Israel, so why aren't you keeping them? Oh, no, no, no. I'm a Gentile. I'm not bound by the law. But the Israelites was wicked because they didn't keep the laws. Okay, are you keeping them? Nah. Oh, okay, are you wicked? Nah, I'm not, because I'm not a Jew. All right, but you said you're spiritual Israel. Oh, but we're saved from the law. Okay, are the Israelites saved from the law? No, the Israelites are cast away now because they didn't keep the law. Oh, so are you going to be cast away for you not keeping them? No, because we're not under the law. Oh, so you're full of shit, basically, then. Is that what you're telling me? No, because there's neither Jew nor Greek. People are full of shit. Christians are full of shit, man. They basically have came up with a way to say that doing righteousness is wickedness and keeping the law is wicked, but breaking the law is okay. But then the Israelites was wrong for when they broke the law, but now we are not wrong for us breaking the law because we are say we believe in Christ. That's what they think that they can come with. And he ain't no Christ. His name's Yahweh Shai, man. Ain't no Jesus. His name's Yahweh Shai. I don't even like saying that J word, man. I don't like saying that. That's to me the name of a demon, man. That's clearly not the name of the Lord. Clearly not. If you don't want to believe his name's Yahweh Shai, why are you believing his name's that J thing? When that letter didn't even exist. That letter isn't even half a millennium years old, man. To my knowledge, it's about 400 years old. It was the last letter. It was the last letter made in the English alphabet, man, when you look it up. So how the hell could that have been the name of someone that was born 2,000 years ago? If the name, I don't know, man. If the name, Jerome, yeah, if the name Jerome, yeah, existed 400 years ago, but then someone's telling you that your great granddad for 2,000 years ago was called Jerome, ain't you gonna be like, but how could he be called Jerome when the first time somebody was ever called Jerome was 400 years ago? Obviously his name ain't Jerome then. You're gonna start questioning that, right? But how this world goes is they're just dumb. And that's why most of these simpletons was down for the C19er. And they're going to be even more down for the MOTB. They're going to be down for that. But Deuteronomy 28 and verse 64, and Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth, even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. The Israelites was going to go through getting scattered, man. Why? Because it's written in Deuteronomy 28. But people want to say Deuteronomy 28 ain't prophecy. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But they want to say it's not prophecy because they're trying to think, oh, it only happened in our lifetimes. You're trying to say it happened no, it happened in the lifetime of the people that we read in the Bible too. There is our forefathers that we can read about in the Bible. They also went through Deuteronomy 28. And we also went through it, man. Because it wasn't a one-time thing. Deuteronomy 28, the curses portion ends when we're under the new covenant. But Deuteronomy 28 in general, the whole chapter, never ends because Deuteronomy 28 is either you're blessed or you're cursed. There's never no you're in between. I'm in between blessings and curses at the moment. I need to get on my feet. No, you're either blessed or you're cursed. As when you're an Israelite, you're either blessed or you're cursed. Whenever the Israelites were going through the blessings, they weren't going through the curses. Whenever the Israelites were going through the curses, they weren't going through the blessings. You can't be going through both at the same time. You're either going through one or you're going through the other. And when we're under the curses in the perfect way, when we're under the blessings in the perfect way, right, meaning that we are keeping the laws perfectly under the new covenant, the blessing, the curses can no longer actually go upon us because there's not going to be a way for them to, because we're not going to have any sin in our nation ever again. And when that time comes, the curses are going to fall upon our enemies. And if you don't believe me, I'm reading it right now anyway. Verse 4, if any of thine be driven out to the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will Yahweh thy power gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee, and Yahweh thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. Is that a prophecy? Because if this is a prophecy, then that means that Deuteronomy 28 is also a prophecy, that the Israelites was going to have to go through the blessings and the curses. Now, the going through the curses was going to be what was going to lead them to being scattered. But the returning from the curses and speaking about these curses in all these different nations was going to be one of the main things that was going to lead to the repentance, which was going to be the main thing that led to the gathering, man. So, but all you people that want to say, nah, you don't know what you're talking about, man. Because if it was to say, oh man, you see us black people, man, it's mad that us black people have to rise up them. Black people it's mad that we're just being treated because of skin color. Because of skin color. I'm a black man and I can't ever take off my skin color. people that compare being black to being an LGBT. It's mad for people comparing black to being an LGBT because nobody knows if you're an LG3T if you don't say it. But I can't take off my skin color. Okay, you can't take off your nationality neither. So you being an Israelite means you're cursed, whether you want to say you're cursed or not. Just like how among you so-called black people want to say, if I don't believe I'm black. I don't believe I'm black. I'm an FBA. All right, it don't matter what letters you want to laugh at us calling ourselves black, but y'all are down to say FBA, mate. So I think that's a joke. Because FBA, people call themselves FBA and haven't been around to my knowledge for even 20 years. So what next? What will you call yourself next, man? What three letters you're gonna put together next in the next couple of 20 years if you was to have it your way? Oh, I'm AFB. I'm ABF. Like what letters would you put together next, man? You want to reject being an Israelite, but you'll accept being an FBA? All right, okay. And what's that worth in God's eyes? What's an FBA worth in God's eyes, man? Them ain't even them are some of the newest letters. It's not even like they came up with some Hebrew, putting three Hebrew alphabet letters together, man. They would have been better off saying I'm Abaga than saying I'm FBA. That would have been at least Paleo Hebrew, man. If people want to laugh at what we believe, I think what you believe is funny too. Some of you men out there that want to laugh at what the Hebrew Israelites are saying, but you think it's cool that you should have to grind and become a millionaire and then you only get one wife. You know what I mean? I think that's funny. That you want to grind to become a millionaire and you want to have one wife, or you want to make a society where it's picked for you how many wives you can have. Someone can tell you how many wives you can have. Someone can even try and tell you how many children you can have. Someone can try and question you as a man if you decide you want to have loads of children. Or somebody can question you as a man if you want to have multiple wives. Or you want a society where, okay, just because you want one wife, you want everyone else to be forced to have one wife as well. But why should it matter to you how many wives another man has? But this society makes a choice on how many wives a man can have, but it tries to leave it open to whether a man can be an alphabet and a rainbower. Oh, it's illegal for a man to have more than one wife, but it's legal for a man to have a husband. But then why don't you just say, okay, a man can have one wife or he can have as many wives as he wants and leave that open? And then the people that want to do that could do it. But then they step in to try and make that seem as though that's wrong. But they leave it open towards whether you can be an alphabet and a rainbower. Oh, we're not saying that people have to be alphabet and rainbowers, but if you so choose to, it's legal and nothing's going to happen to you. Well, why couldn't they do that with multiple wives then? Why couldn't they do it with multiple wives, man? But it's because they're hypocrites, though. But carrying on with this, verse 5, and Yahweh thy power will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and who will do thee good, and multiply thee above thy fathers. And Yahweh thy power will circumcise thine heart, and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy power with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. Is that a prophecy? Because if that's a prophecy, then you have to accept that all the other things that it said was going to come to pass was also a prophecy. Some of the things that it said was going to come to pass, according to verse 1, would be Deuteronomy 28. And if you don't believe that, then what blessings and curses is it talking about then? Deuteronomy 13 verse 6, he's talking about the new covenant. That's what I believe. Deuteronomy 13 verse 6, when it talks about the circumcision of the heart, he's talking about the new covenant, where the mind's going to be changed, the spirit's going to be changed, the flesh is going to be changed, the whole vessel of an Israelite human being is going to be changed into something completely different, man. Completely new. A completely new thing. But people don't want to make out like that's a thing, man. They just want to run up the mouth, and basically whatever we say is wrong. I was watching a video of the Hodge twin the other day, and like they was trying to scoff the Hebrew Israelites, and it was ISUPK in the video they was trying to scoff and saying, "Oh man, for them to say all these things that they want to do, that's absolutely insane, man. That's absolutely insane." And one of the guys that was with him on their channel was laughing about some of the things that they were saying, but then he went on to say, "Yeah, okay, but so-called white, and he never said so-called white people. He's just said white. You know what I mean? YT and that. Now you have to do all of these dumb terminologies. But he said so-called white people have done these things though throughout the years, and then they had to retract their statement a bit and was like, yeah, at the end of the day, man, everyone's did wrong. But that's not what your video was about though. Your video was initially about trying to scoff the Hebrew Israelites because of what they're saying. And everyone always wants to talk about what the Hebrew Israelites are saying, but they don't want to talk about what this world is actually doing. Okay, the Hebrew Israelites are bad because they're talking about unaliving people. All right. So what about the Hebrew Israelites are bad for this and that? Okay, what about the people that actually own military weapons and are going all around the world using them? What about that? You got anything to say about, oh, but they're doing it for blah, blah. Okay, but they're doing it though. Whereas you can't see no Hebrew Israelites doing that. We're not even allowed to say that we think women are hoes without people trying to scrutinize us and make it like we're the worst people in the world. Or they're misogynistic. They're misogynistic. Mate, stop being a simp, nigga. Them women that you're trying to kiss their batty crease, they don't want you anyway. They think you're a sucker. They don't want you. Unless they want you to pay up their bills, bro. So you're steady there kissing their ass, but they don't even like you anyway, you punks. So what are you kissing their ass for? Clowns, man. Verse 6, and Yahweh thy power circumcise thine heart, and the heart of thy seed, to love Yahweh thy power with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, that thou mayest live. And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Is that a prophecy? Is that a prophecy? Because that's saying that this thing's going to happen. Is that a prophecy? Deuteronomy 30 and verse 1 is saying that that was going to happen. The blessings and the curses, you're going to go through them, and then you're going to call them to mind among all the nations whither Yahweh thy power have driven thee. Why was they driven there? Because they were cursed and scattered, which is one of the curses. Otherwise, what's your explanation of why they were driven there? That's what I'd like to know. All these people that have got something to... You'll notice with these people, you know, every time, man, literally 100% of the time, oh, they're twisting the scripture. Fucking untwist it, nigga. Oh, it don't mean that. What the fuck does it mean, man? Oh, they're saying it means this. Oh, wait, okay, what does it mean? What does it fucking mean, man? And excuse the language, man, but it's annoying. What does it mean then? If you're doing maths and it said 5, and the question said 5 plus 5 equals, right? And then somebody just came by because you wrote 7, and they're like, you said it's 7. Silly boy, get cross. You'd get angry. You'd be like, okay, it's not 7. What the fuck's the answer then, man? What is the answer? Oh, it's 10. Okay, thanks. I know for next time. But what Christians do is they just laugh at every answer that the Hebrew Israelites give. These Hebrew Israelites are saying 1 plus 1 equals 1. Ridiculous. Okay, what does it equal then? What's the answer? You're laughing at their answer. What is the answer then? These Hebrew Israelites are saying 1 plus 1 equals 2. It does though, doesn't it? Yeah, but it's funny because they're saying it. Okay, so you're saying it don't equal that? No, it does. But I'm just laughing at their answer anyway. 1 plus 1 equals. All right, so you're saying that the answer's not wrong? No, it is wrong. So okay, so what's the right answer? Oh well, there's neither Jew nor Greek. Run away, huh? I ain't been enlightened from that, mate. That's not very enlightening for you to just laugh at what somebody else is saying all the time, but not give the right answer. If someone's washing a dish, yeah, and you're like, that's not the right way to wash a dish. That's ridiculous. Okay, what is the right way to wash a dish then? If you're watching somebody, and people do that all the time in this world. Anthony Joshua, he's scared. Anthony Joshua's scared to fight Deontay Wilder. No, he's not, mate. He just ain't fought him yet. That football player's whack. He spooned that penalty over the top rope. He needs to go back to Africa. Why? Why did? Oh, he missed that penalty. Okay, could you have done it though? Or he missed that shot. Could you have made it? You fat Edomite man. Could you have made it, bro? You always got a fat pillock with beer stains on his clothes, running his mouth. Yeah, or a fat Edomite woman, man, or a LaQuisha, or some other stupid idiot in this world, always running their mouth about what ain't. But then when it comes time to actually give an answer, they don't have one. They don't ever have an answer, man. Oh, Deuteronomy 28 ain't prophecy. What is it then? What is Deuteronomy 28? And then, okay, give your answer. And then we've got some more questions for you. Because Deuteronomy 30 is saying that the Israelites was going to go through the blessing and the curse. Oh, but where does it say that? Does it say Israelite in Deuteronomy 30 and 1? Does it say the word Israelite in it? No, it don't. But who was it that went to the curses then? Who's the Torah for? Are you going to try and say the Torah wasn't for the Israelites now? Is that what you're going to try and say? It's so funny that these black people think that they're Jews and that they're Israelites. Oh, is it? Because we're humans on earth. So why is it funny that we believe that we're Israelites? Because somebody on earth are the Israelites, right? I think it would be funnier if cats or dogs thought that they were Israelites. But if any human being on this earth was to think that they might be an Israelite, there's not a problem with that. Because somebody on the earth has to be Israelites. And the Israelites were scattered on the earth in different countries. Why would it be funny that we think that we're Israelites? Because is it funny that those other people in the land think that they are? How is it funny that a group of people that can run 100 meters in under 10 seconds consecutively, literally everyone in the 100-meter finals race is a so-called black man? The Bible speaks about Hebrew Israelites, about the Israelites being fast at running. Why would it be funny that we're the Israelites? Where are the small hats? When I watched in 2024, I believe it was, the Olympic Games, right? Every medal, pretty much every medal that was being won by a person that looked like a so-called black man. Pretty much every medal, man. It was ridiculous, and every single country was trying to have a so-called black person on their team in some way, shape, or form, so that they could have a chance of winning a medal. But really, mostly really so-called black people won the Olympic Games. Really. But then some of those other people that didn't even look like so-called black people that were winning these medals were really Israelites anyway. Because it's the biggest nation on the earth. There is the sands of the sea. Nation for nation, the Israelites have got more people in there than anyone else. Now, I personally think that there's more heathens on earth than Israelites because they're going to serve us. So there would need to be more in number as a whole in terms of the heathen than us, right? But they're not more than us, case by case. I don't believe that there's more Moabites on the earth than there is Israelites. I don't believe there's more Edomites on the earth than there is Israelites. I don't believe there's more Ishmaelites on the earth than there is Israelites. But I believe that there's more heathens on the earth, more Gentiles on the earth, more non-Israelites on the earth than there is Israelites. But the Israelites are the biggest nation individually. But they're not more than all the people that are non-Israelites in general. I don't think that would make any sense. But if that is the case, then it is. But I don't think it would make sense for it to be the case, though. I think it would make more sense that we're the biggest nation on the earth by individual, but that there's more heathens on earth than Israelites. I think that makes more sense, but it's not something to argue over necessarily because we can't prove it right now anyway. It would just be an opinion thing, right? Verse 7, and Yahweh power put all these curses upon thine enemies, and on them that hate thee which persecuted thee. All you people on the earth hate us, so get ready to be cursed. All the things that you laughed about our nation for, they're in the hood, they're in the ghettos. You're going to be one. Their women treat them like trash. Your women are going to treat you like trash. In the kingdom of heaven, it's going to be real hard for your women of your nations to see a so-called black man, Latino man, a Native American man, a handsome Israelite man with his full stature, full swag on point, to be a real high-value man, the greatest of all things, immortal, right? And for them to want to have a child with you, it's going to be real difficult. The only reason why they're going to want to deal with any of you men of any of your other nations is because we ain't going to want them. Because if it's going to be a choice between us dealing with them versus you, they'd choose us every time. They wouldn't want y'all, man. Just like how right now, unfortunately, that's the reason why some so-called black women deal with the men of their nation, because they know that the other nations of men don't want them. And the moment they get the chance to try and sneak off with an Edomite in particular, they run off and do it. You always can catch Eve sneaking around with Esau in this world, man. But people want to lie all the time, man, and make it like it ain't what we're saying it is. It is exactly as we're saying it is, man. You're cursed. You can say you're not. But then why you always complaining about race all the time? You can say, oh, every other nation of people, yada, 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 does this and does that, but we don't do it. Why though? Why is it that your nation is so different to everyone else? Why? What caused that? Is it because you're cursed? Oh, nah. It's because of slavery. Okay. Other people on the earth have went through some form of hard times, but why were your hard times so vast? What did you really lose in that time? Because you lost more than your freedom. You lost your part of your who you are as a people. And many of you now, especially in America, don't even want to consider what it is that you lost, as long as you can have some money. And you'd think that it's like you think that if every single so-called black person was a millionaire, that would somehow escape you from what you're going through. No. And then the thing is, because some of you so-called black people that are actually still 2/3, especially if you're in America, that term can definitely be used on you. If you're in America and you don't believe in the scriptures of what the Hebrew Israelites are saying, you're a 2/3. And if you don't know what that means, before it's all said and done, you will know. You're going to be part of the 2/3 of Israelites that are going to be in that lake of fire, right? But because some of the 2/3, especially in America, like I said before, don't believe, but they think, oh, I'm just trying to I'm a CEO of a company, and I'm just trying to focus on these American laws, and I'm going to just do my thing, right? They actually think that they're a good person, but they've rejected Yahweh, so you know you're not a good person. If you rejected Yahweh, you ain't a good person. How could you be? You can't be a good person and have rejected Yahweh. You're a good person if you believe. And in fact, really, none of us are good though. Anyway, none of us are good, man. But I just wanted to do this video because you've got people that say Deuteronomy 28 is not a prophecy. Yes, it is. It definitely, most certainly is a prophecy. The curses, man. And I believe, I'm going to just quickly check, that Leviticus 26 also goes into it like this as well. Let me just see. I want to see if it uses a similar kind of wording. Not really. It don't really use the similar kind of wording, but I'll still read this part here. Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 40. If they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers with their trespass which they have trespassed against me, that they also have walked contrary unto me, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies, then, if then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they accept the punishment of their iniquity, then I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham, will I remember, and I will remember the land. And that really, and I'm going to see if I've done it already, that really, yeah, can be applied to Deuteronomy 30, man. Right? That can be, in my opinion anyway. And I'm going to end the video there, man. I just wanted to talk about that because I've seen some videos about how people are saying Deuteronomy 28 ain't a prophecy, but it definitely is. And the thing that's mad is that a lot of these people, they don't read the Bible nowhere near as much as the Hebrew Israelites, you know. But they actually think that they can just come through and read one verse or make one statement, and now everything that we believe is just going to be put to bed, as if we haven't considered the arguments that they make as to whether this is what things something to be believed. But they have not considered all the things that we say. They haven't considered all the things that we're saying. They just, as soon as, because we're saying it, reject it. And it's absolutely unfair and ridiculous, but they're not about being fair. They're just wicked. They don't want to even consider anything that we're saying because they think that they've got all the answers, but they haven't even got every single verse in the Bible is not even included in what they believe. They're just like, well, we've made something that we think sounds good and we're going to package it like that. Forget Deuteronomy 28. That's not needed to be read. Forget the Old Testament. We don't need to read that. Forget the book of Obadiah. We don't need to read that. If anything sounds too harsh, all we're going to say is that's Old Testament, even though some of the things that we're saying is Old Testament clearly isn't. Because Revelation 13:9, verse 10 is not Old Testament. We're going to just say and reject anything that they say. If they say anything that sounds harsh, we're just going to say God's not partial and hope that that works. That's what they've literally been trained to do. If you was to sit and if you was to be able to hear what these people say and be a fly on the wall, right, to be an insect on the wall and just hear the conversation that these people have, you'd be like, raw. These people actually really know that we're telling the truth, man. These people are just demons. If you was actually able to see who's giving that demon Kango wearer, that whack rapper, his marching orders and telling him what to say, you'd be like, raw, this guy really is a demon, you know. If you was to hear some of these secret phone calls that he's having and that. Okay, so go down to the Israelites and try and see if you can get them to beat you up and rough you up a bit. All right, yes, boss, I'll try my best. These are the kind of things that you'd hear these motherfuckers saying, man. That's what I think. Now, can I prove it? Nah. But there was a time where we couldn't prove that GRLA Hebrew guy was going off to a high degree. But the proof's out now, though, isn't it? There was a time where it couldn't be proved that Brother Polite was a demon. It's proved now, though, right? It's proved now. And it's going to be proved that this Kango wearer, that's always in shade, seemingly, right? That's stalking Hebrew Israelites doing a world tour of scoffing. It's going to prove what he's been up to, man. It's going to prove what dark deeds that guy's been up to as well. Just watch. It just takes time to show, right? And it's going to also be proved that the Hebrew Israelites were telling the truth. It's going to also be proved that, yes, Yahushua the Messiah does look like a so-called black man. It's going to be proved that Deuteronomy 28 was a prophecy concerning the Israelites. It's going to be proved that the Atlantic slave trade was, it was something that the Israelites went through. And people are going to know that we're the Israelites. Let's get this. Hosea chapter 1 and verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which I mentioned before, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people. So it's actually prophecy when people say that we're not the Israelites. That's prophecy. It's actually prophecy when you people are saying, oh, they're not the real Israelites, blah, 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 blah. They're not this, they're not that. They're Negroes, they're niggers. Okay. Like, you sound like a coon, but all right. We're just niggers, yeah? What about when the word nigger was not being said and 2,000 years ago our people existed on earth? What were we then? What were we then? Because some of you people call yourself Christians, right? But then you call yourself FBA. What were you when your people was dwelling on the earth 2,000 years ago? Were you FBA then? Because FBA didn't exist then, did it? What were you before there was a kingdom called the Greeks? Were you Greek then? Exactly. But you people are just full of shit, man. Right? And you're very annoying to even hear you talk, man. It's annoying to even hear you people speak because you don't know what you're talking about. You just think because you don't respect us that you can pick up the Bible and try and make a name or try and make some kind of doctrine that people are going to believe. Oh, they only believe these Hebrew Israelites because they ain't heard me pick up the Bible yet and say that they're not. So when I pick up the Bible and say that these people are not the Israelites, they're bound to back down from that belief system that they got. No, we're not going to. Because who are you? You don't respect us, but we don't respect you either. And we don't care if you respect us because we expect you to not. Because Yahweh didn't give the doctrine unto the best of men. So when you people insult us and say that we ain't this and we ain't that, you're right, we ain't that. We ain't it. But you ain't neither. That's the thing about it. You ain't it neither. You ain't on the top of the pinnacle. You ain't the chief cornerstone neither, man. So you want to try and bun us out, but we can bun you out too. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. Is that a prophecy? Verse 11, then shall the children of Judah and Israel be gathered together. Is that a prophecy? And shall appoint themselves one head, and they shall come out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. Is that a prophecy? You even want to say what ain't a prophecy? What is a prophecy? Forget telling everyone what it ain't. What is it? Because that's as far as I've seen with Christianity. Oh, it don't mean that. Oh, it don't mean that. What does it mean then? Forget what it ain't. What is it though? That's what it's better to do, right? Whenever you're telling somebody what they're wrong, as far as I've seen, whenever it comes to teaching, and the way I've seen teaching mainly is from combat sports, man. Whenever a combat sports coach tells somebody what they shouldn't be doing, they normally correct them and show them the right way. Oh, that's not the right way to throw a jab because then this, that, or that. You might want to have your head, your chin, your shoulder covering your chin when you throw the jab. Or when you throw a kick, you want to try and throw the. Okay, that's a good way to throw the kick, but the kick's more efficient if you do it that way. Or when you're retracting back the kick, do it this way. Or when you're doing an arm bar, or when you're doing a choke hold, you might want to try and do it like this way. Or you might want to try and not grip using the thumb because this grip, they can use your thumb to break the grip if you use your thumb. All these different things when I've looked into these kind of things. But when it's for some reason when it comes to Christianity, they're just quick to say what you shouldn't do, but they don't say what you should do. Or you don't always have to be about the law, the law, the law, the law. Okay, so we should just do whatever we want to do then? Oh well, no, no. Okay, so what should we do then? Well, try and keep the law to the best of your. Okay, so when I go into the store, keeping the law to the best of my ability would be not buying pork then, right? Oh no, but remember, all foods are clean now. Why are they? Oh well, because of what Peter said. But Peter wasn't talking about food. That was a metaphor for people. Oh no, 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 it wasn't. Like you Christians are lost, man. I'm just gonna say all praises to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, Bar Shem Rakako Dash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone, and shalom to the elect. If you people out there want to listen to what Christianity's got to say, go ahead. But then why do you even still watch the Hebrew Israelites talk then? That's a new doctrine. If your doctrine is the truth, why is this new doctrine came out then? Like why is this new doctrine affecting your doctrine? Why have you had to start reading other scriptures now based on what the Hebrew Israelites is talking about? Your doctrine should have already been complete. And because you are not able to fit these verses that they are showing you in the Bible into your doctrine, you're starting to now have to try and just say that the scriptures don't mean anything. But it's not going to work, man. Shalom to the elect. Shalom.